Evening. I recently ran through a book called Lipstick Jungle by Candace Bushnell. I have to admit, I partly looked into this book because the title is cool, but anyways, it's set in New York and basically follows an episode in the lives of three different women. Like, they're all really good friends and they're all working pretty hard to juggle like relationship things and work. So the story begins at Victory's fashion show. Like, it's the showing for her spring collection, but even though she has really high hopes for it, like, it's a complete departure from her original style, and it ends up being a massive disaster. Like, she wants to break out, I guess, of the mold that she had been put into before, and she feels like she's trying to create something new and to grow as an artist, but it's not really being recognized by the industry, and it could actually cause the serious financial problems to her company. So she's dealing with that fallout, trying to refigure out her direction as a fashion designer, and then also starting to, because she's 40 something and single and pretty happy about it, except that she starts getting courted by this really rich billionaire person who she originally thinks is going to be a complete jerk, but she ends up being maybe kind of a little interested in. So her two friends who also came to support her at the fashion show, one of them is a woman called Wendy. Like, she's a really high-ranking movie executive. Like, she has had a lot of films that have done extremely well, and she has a good eye for what will or won't become like a successful movie. Like, she takes a pretty big hand in all the scripts that her company or her department, I guess, decides to take on and create. She's currently in the midst of a multi-year project that she believes is good enough to win an Oscar. Like, it's really dear to her heart, and it's getting close to being finished, but also becoming a kind of a train wreck because there's problems going on with it. Like, she's really disappointed by the first shooting, that she has all these people that she has to manage and shepherd into creating it to make sure that it actually matches the vision she had for the script when she first bought the rights to the book. But at the same time, her family life is kind of completely falling apart. Like, she has 3 kids, she's super busy, and her husband is unemployed and kind of frankly, kind of a good-for-nothing leech who doesn't really contribute to the household in any way. But at the same time, she thinks she loves him, but he doesn't actually like her, and wants to leave her, and it causes this huge debacle in their household. So she feels a bit like she's losing control, and it's a bit crazy because she is seen as someone who's very on top of it at work, but at the same time, like, at home, she feels like it turns into a kind of lie where she feels like maybe everything she's done and stuff is somehow wrong. So lastly, we have Nico. Like, she let's see, what was her job? Oh yeah, so she works in publishing. Like, she's the chief editor for a magazine that's been doing extremely well, and she's aiming to move up in the company. Like, her ultimate goal is to run the entire company when the guy in charge retires. But at the moment, she's just aiming for the job of the person who originally hired her, and he's kind of been treating her pretty badly in the last couple years. So, between attempting to secure that promotion for herself, which may involve like having to get her hands dirty some, like in ways that she's not entirely sure she's okay with. She's also dealing with she has a pretty good stable family. Like, she has a husband who's a professor at Columbia and a daughter that she really loves, but she has basically she finds her own, family life a little dull, so she ends up getting into an affair with this male underwear model. So yeah, like it follows the events that occur, like with all three women with these major events going on in their lives, starting with the fashion show and ending with how these particular, like specific moments play out. And, since they're all good friends, their choices and stuff do kind of involve and influence one another. So, something I liked. Well, I guess more like something this story does well, like it does a really good job of going into the challenges of being a really, really successful professional and a woman. Like there's a lot of things that women have to deal with that men often just don't, like especially in a world that is still largely male dominated. So there's things that the kind of choices that they make, the kind of issues that they get faced with, but also some of the, doubts and stuff that they have to grapple with, like as you're trying to advance in like these different industries and stuff as a woman, and then juggling the relationship stuff just kind of makes it all more complicated. And I think it does a really good job at highlighting some of those struggles and complexities. Like, the only character I really like though is Victory. Like I like her plot line, I guess. Like I think she has the only plot line I didn't really skip anything of. So that brings me to my dislike. I will say that I skip scanned through a number of the sections for both Wendy and Nico. Like, I did not want to hear about Nico's affair, so I basically skipped all the sections that focused on her interactions with the person she is having an affair with. And then for Wendy, I said before in my summary that her husband comes across to me as kind of a good-for-nothing leech, and it says that he's a good father, and it seems later on that maybe he is, but at least the way he was introduced at the beginning, I don't really see it, since she was the one doing all the work, like for getting the kids ready to go out and like stuff like that, whereas he was just lying in bed not contributing. So like a lot of those interactions, like it was very frustrating to me how she could be so sharp, I guess, as a businesswoman, but let this person who's totally not worth her time walk all over her just because she thinks she loves him. Like it just seems so obvious that he was taking advantage of her and would continue to take advantage of her, that I skipped a lot of their conversations because I kind of just wished she would get mad instead of letting things drag on until it was kind of too late.